Here's my problem with you. You're going to sit there and say that you looked at Jesus for 40 years and you were led to the Quran. Have you actually have you looked at the things that Muhammad, now we're going to do a comparison. There's Jesus Christ, there's Muhammad. Are you really going to sit there and tell me that you, with all your wisdom and all the times you've been around the block, are you going to sit there with a straight face and tell me that a man can sit there, do whatever he wants with women? Every single time he wants to have intercourse with another woman, he has a revelation from God. He tells people, you can only do X, Y, and Z, but I can do what I want because guess what? God told me that it's not a sin. He beheaded hundreds of innocent Jewish men. He took advantage of women, including a little girl. Okay.
So where are you getting these facts from?
Are you okay? I'm getting them from your own history.
I don't care about my history. I was led to the Quran. I don't even care about Muhammad. I was led to the Quran.
Brother. All right. Allah. JJ, you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you, man?
I'm very good, thank you.
All right. Are you a Muslim, my brother?
I follow, my way is Islam, but most Muslims say I'm not a Muslim because I am Quran alone.
I don't understand that because it is not the Quran very clear about not splitting into groups and sects and isolating other people?
Yes, brother, it's very clear about that. Yes.
So my question to you then is, why does Islam and Muslims in general fail to give Jesus its proper respect, right? That's why the question is, why don't Muslims accept Jesus? Because I know that there's a Muslim version of what you guys think Jesus is, but for centuries, there was what the world knew Jesus to be. And then later on came Muhammad saying, no, not so fast. It's kind of something else here, right? And Johnny, you chime in whenever you want, please, brother. So what I want to know from you, JJ, who is, you are a Quran alone, you are a Quran only Muslim, which I thank you for calling the show. I don't know that I've ever spoken to a Quran only Muslim because I know you guys are a rarity out there. Usually most Muslims, I think 80 to 85% of the Muslims in the world are Sunni, and they believe in the hadith and the tafsir and everything else along with the Quran, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, I think you're on point there.
Okay, so my question to you, brother, is, and you sound like this is a warm welcome change from the usual, respectfully what I call on TikTok the diarrhea dawa, because you have the little trolls who are always trying to run in, but you don't sound like that, which I appreciate. So my question to you is, why do Muslims refuse to give Jesus his proper respect?
Well, if I may, just a moment. I followed Jesus for over 40 years, but I never bought into the idea of Trinity.
Okay.
So when I was led to the Quran at 68 years of age, I don't see that the Quran doesn't hold Jesus in high regard.
Okay. But so you don't think that it's disrespectful to Jesus to deny something as crucial as here, let me ask you this. Do you believe that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ actually transpired?
Because I was led to the Quran and I believe in the Quran, I have to answer no.
Okay. So then that leads me back to my original question. What would make you deny something that is more attributed to than anything else of historical antiquity?
Well, with all respect, I never, the idea of incorporating historical evidence in faith matters always bothered me. But the fact of the matter is that in Jesus's words, and as I said, following Jesus, not Trinity, I wasn't even called a Christian as a follower of Jesus, but following Jesus, I never heard him say that he was God. So that was always an issue for me.
Okay. Man, I don't even know where to start. So here, my thing is, I don't want to monologue at you, JJ, but there are a couple of things that you did say that are kind of concerning. Okay. Now, firstly, I want to straighten a couple things out for you. You claim that Jesus never said that he was God. That's what you said, right? But
I claim, well, to be clear, faith is a personal matter as far as I can tell. So what I said was, in following Jesus's teachings for 40 years, I never heard him say that he was God. Yes.
So you okay? So you mean okay? So you're talking subjectively and not biblically.
Well, the relationship with God is one-on-one. On Judgment Day, we all stand before God alone. So I've always
right,
understood
but that's not what I asked. I just asked simply, are you saying that because you never heard Jesus say it subjectively, personally, that means therefore you don't believe that Jesus is God?
Well, yes, because if Jesus was sent from God and Jesus never said he was God, why would I say that he was God?
Again, so I'm going to ask you, and I want you to be very clear. What do you mean by when you say you never heard him say he was God?
Well, in following Jesus' teachings, I understood that when he said, everything that I say, everything that I do, it is from the Father. That's how I understood it. So he was the messenger from God, sent to the Jews at a time that the teachers were putting so much burden on the people.
JJ, did you actually read the Bible? Be honest. I'm not going to get upset with you. Did you actually ever read the New Testament?
Sir, I'm 70 years old. I just told you that I follow Jesus.
No, that's not. You can
follow.
Listen, you can follow Jesus and never have read the Bible. It's a legitimate question. Have you ever read the Bible or not?
Brother, please. How could you follow Jesus and have never read the Bible? How would I know of Jesus if I didn't read the Bible?
So, what does John 8:58 say? Can you tell me?
Off the top of my head, no, but you can tell me.
Okay, let's bring it up, and I'm going to let you know exactly what is going on here. Okay.
Okay.
John 8:58. Jesus declares, "Very truly I tell you, before Abraham was born, I am."
Right.
Right. Now, that statement in and of itself is considered by Christians to be the bold claim of divinity and his existence before Abraham, and equating himself to God by using the divine name, I am, which is linked back to Exodus 3:14. So that's just one of many examples where Jesus made it clear that he was God. As a matter of fact, because he was making that claim, what ended up happening right after Jesus made that claim? Can you tell me?
Brother, yes, I know. They picked up stones. Okay. But for Jesus to say before Abraham, if God said to Moses, my name is Bob, and Jesus said before Abraham was Bob, that's basically how I understood it. I am is the name of the
JJ,
Lord.
I understand that you didn't understand it, but I'm going to be extraordinarily clear with you. And as a man who is much older than myself, I would assume that you've gone through life with people being very, especially with the generation you're from, being very bluntly honest with you, regardless of how it may make you feel. That's not going to change right now. So I'm going to be very clear with you. Your misunderstanding of something does not change the reality of that incident. Because there's no way, hold on. There is no way that you're going to tell me that, and you're doing it. You're doing what Muslims always do. You're saying, you're trying to play on words, and you're trying to say, well, because this was that, and because something about Bob, which honestly made absolutely no sense. Now you're trying to say that the next event, the very next incident which occurred, where they picked up stones, because the Jewish people there, regardless of whether the fact that JJ doesn't understand what he's saying, it doesn't matter that JJ doesn't understand what he said, because those Jewish people knew exactly what he was saying. And they said, you, a mere man, claim equality with God. So how are you going to tell me that it's the same as Moses saying that his name is Bob? It makes absolutely no sense.
But therefore, brother, where is your credibility then is on the response of the Jews at the time. That's what you're saying, is that their response declared to you that Jesus is God. Yes?
Well, no. So you're completely misrepresenting what's going on here, because you claimed that Jesus never claimed to be God, right?
That's right.
And then when I showed you the one verse out of many that does have him claiming Godship, you're saying now, well, it doesn't matter because now your credibility is on the Jews. No, the fact of the matter is I proved you wrong, because it's their reaction that proved that that's exactly what he was saying and doing, was claiming equality with God.
Yes, and you don't see how their response is fortifying your beliefs.
Why? What? Okay, so again, their response was a knee-jerk reaction to Jesus doing something that to them from birth was taught as a stonable executional offense. You're claiming to be God. Your claim was that he never did that. Johnny, did he or did he not say that Jesus never claimed to be God? Did he not say that?
Correct.
Okay. Now I am showing you how you were wrong and how we know that a group of not one or two people, but the dozens and dozens of people who were surrounding him wanted to kill him. And not only it's not like it's ambiguous. They literally said, we are going to stone you. And this is why, because you, a mere man, claim to be God.
Right.
So it
But
isn't because I'm hanging my hat on the reaction of the Jewish crowd. It's me illustrating to you that what you said was completely false, because
Okay.
Jesus did make that claim.
So when Jesus says, I do nothing of myself, what is he referring to?
Okay, first, what I want you to do is I want you to admit that you were completely incorrect when you said that Jesus never claimed to be God.
Sir, from the beginning, I said that my interpretation of what Jesus' teachings, he never claimed to be God to me.
JJ,
So how can I be wrong?
It doesn't. You can be wrong because you're saying what you're saying under the pretense that because you don't understand it that way, therefore that's what reality is. Brother, if I give you a calculus equation and you get it wrong, your answer doesn't mean that it's right just because you interpreted the math that way. So the way that you look at things is fine, and you're welcome to do it. It's exactly why Jesus said, do not concern yourself with the amount of people that will enter the kingdom of my Father, for the road to destruction is broad and many are on it. You know why he said that? Because he knew many people were going to be saying exactly what you're saying now and interpreting things the way that they want to, right?
Okay.
And then you went to, and here's what's funny, is that you as a much older guy, right? You
Right.
decided that supposedly you followed Jesus for 40 years, for 4 decades. And then in your mind, the natural conclusion was to become a Muslim, a Quran only Muslim, right? Which is founded upon by a man who is guilty of some of the worst atrocities.
Okay, let's not go there,
No,
please.
we can go there because you're the one who stated that you're the one who continues to appeal to yourself and your own subjectivity, right?
But
So
these
you open up,
sir.
so
these
you opened up.
atroc-
Hold on. You opened up those floodgates, right?
Okay,
You
so
stated that
these
you
are-
don't go
these-
to Jesus because you don't see him as God. But yet,
Right.
the person who, even by his own enemies, was not able to be convicted of sin, you said, okay, I'm not going to go into, I just can't see him as God, regardless of the fact that he lived in incarnate form 33 years, had no sin, was crucified by the Romans. And so many people have changed. And now we have billions of Christians, countless years later, to say nothing of the apostles who were sacrificed without ever recanting and saying, no, we didn't see him resurrected. And the conclusion that you came to was to follow a religion founded by Muhammad, who is guilty of all the things that he's guilty of. That's
Okay.
that's what you thought was the logical conclusion.
Okay, so I was led to the Quran. I don't follow Muhammad. I was led to the Quran.
Who's the author of the who is the author of the Quran?
God is the author of the Quran.
Yeah, dictated by whom? Who were the revelations
Dictated
given to
by
you?
Gabriel.
Dictated by Gabriel. Okay, and who was the one who ensured that those revelations came to the human mouth and were dictated down?
The man Muhammad.
Oh, there we go. So now we have to say, okay, we are now going to go ahead and say that Muhammad is a worthy prophet. Now here's the thing, JJ, and at your age, I understand that it's harder and harder. It's harder for you to accept certain things. I get it. Whatever. Okay. Here's my problem with you. You're going to sit there and say that you looked at Jesus for 40 years and you were led to the Quran. Have you actually have you looked at the things that Muhammad, now we're going to do a comparison. There's Jesus Christ, there's Muhammad. Are you really going to sit there and tell me that you, with all your wisdom and all the times you've been around the block, are you going to sit there with a straight face and tell me that a man can sit there, do whatever he wants with women? Every single time he wants to have intercourse with another woman, he has a revelation from God. He tells people, you can only do X, Y, and Z, but I can do what I want because guess what? God told me that it's not a sin. He beheaded hundreds of innocent Jewish men. He took advantage of women, including a little girl. Okay.
So where are you getting these facts from?
Are
Not the
you okay?
Quran.
I'm getting them from your own history.
I don't care about my history. I was led to the Quran. I don't even care about Muhammad. I was led to the Quran.
Brother, You're a Muslim and you don't care about.
No, sir. No, sir. From the beginning,
Johnny, go ahead, man.
I
Go
said,
ahead. Hold
I
on.
said,
Go
I
ahead.
am Quran. I said, I am
I,
Quran.
I know what you said, but JJ, you would have to be Quran only because it's the hadiths and the tafsir and pretty much all of Muslim history that expose Muhammad for exactly who he is. Go
I
ahead,
don't
John.
care who Muhammad was, other than the messenger of God.
So how can you sit there again and say I have an issue with Jesus and try to criticize the things that happened in John 8:58, but you have no problem turning a blind eye to Muhammad and the things that he did in the past? You have to be kidding me.
The only issue I have with Jesus is that after Jesus left the earth, they made him a god. That's the only issue.
Because Jesus is God.
JJ, let's go back because you said you don't. Maybe we'll come back to the deity of Christ, but let's go back to Muhammad. So if I what's going on?
Why would we go back to Muhammad if I don't? I just told you I don't even care about Muhammad, other than being a messenger of God.
Because I want to make a point on that.
Okay, go ahead.
If I claimed that I received revelations from God and then brought this book, how would you know what I'm saying is true?
I by the book.
By the book.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't examine.
If you told me you were from God and you have revelations from God and they were in this book, I would read the book.
Okay, what if I said that I get special privileges in morality? Like let's say I get to marry more people than you, for example.
I would say I would ask, if you're a messenger of God and it's in this book, is it in the book that you have these special privileges?
No, I'm saying that God told me. So if I'm making these claims that I'm receiving revelations and I have a book, and then I also make a claim that, well, there's this revelation that I get to marry however many I want, but you have a limit. Wouldn't you have some suspicion there?
Sir, I would, but your first point was on point, because I've said numerous times I was led to the Quran. I don't even care about Muslim history. I was led to the Quran.
Thank you so much for the gifts from Godson on TikTok. Thank you. Go ahead, Johnny. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out.
Yeah, continue what you were saying.
Well, I believe in the Quran. I don't concern myself with Muslim history. I don't concern myself with these terrible things that are said about a man, Muhammad, because as far as I was concerned, as far as I'm concerned, the Quran could have been revealed to any man on this earth. As far as the book says, it was revealed to Muhammad. I do not go beyond Muhammad for any, beyond the Quran to Muhammad for any other instruction, because I believe the Quran is from God.
Okay, so, but you understand that the source from where it comes from is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, the source is God. Of course it's important.
So then my question to that, JJ, would be, if the source of the Quran was God, then why does the Quran get so many things wrong?
So many things wrong.
Mm-hmm.
How do I answer that?
With honesty, there are so many just in scientific theories, right? In things that are
okay.
said.
Wait. A point just occurred to me. So here's the issue now. You're going to go into the Quran to prove that things are wrong. But when we were talking about the Gospel of John, and I said I didn't understand it that way, you said, no, I was wrong there. So how are we going to work this out?
Well, it's not about working it out, JJ. Your subjective interpretation of what Jesus was saying is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about, the Quran.
Okay.
The Quran.
May I ask a question?
JJ, let me finish my point, man. Let me finish my point, okay? You're saying that the Quran is the word of God, but the Quran has been shown to be wrong about so many different things, historically, scientifically. I mean, and to say nothing of the fact that you believe, I would assume that Quranists believe that there's only one Quran. It's never been altered, never been changed. It's a miracle from God, correct?
I can't speak to that. I don't know. I don't even speak Arabic, so most Muslims don't even take me into their fold because I don't speak Arabic.
So you are a Quran only Muslim that does not care about Muhammad. You don't think that he matters.
Sir, from the beginning, I said my way is Islam, and I wasn't even considered Muslim by most Muslims. So now you're calling me a Muslim? That's your prerogative.
What else would you be?
My way is Islam.
So
if
then
you
you're,
call
so
me a
then you're
Muslim,
a Muslim.
all right, but if you call me a Muslim and other Muslims are listening, they're going to say JJ isn't a Muslim. That's
Brother,
my point.
I don't care what other Muslims say. I'm speaking to you. I'm asking you. Okay. The fact of the matter is, my colleague here asked you some valuable questions, and you're respectfully, okay, because I respect my elders. I don't believe you're giving legitimate and genuine answers. Okay. I think that you came into this discussion thinking that it was going to turn out a little bit differently, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, you do not, let's get back to basics. Okay. You do not respect Jesus Christ. I don't know what you were doing for 40 years, but I can guarantee and promise you that you never were consumed by the Holy Spirit, because there's no one who ever was truly consumed by the Holy Spirit that would say something that you said. Since the day that I've been consumed by the Holy Spirit, and anyone else whom I know truly has a relationship with Christ, do we sin? Do we fall? Yes, I do it every single day. But there's no way that you're going to tell me that you are a true Bible-believing, Holy Spirit-consuming Christian who had a relationship with Christ and then one day said, but I don't really believe he was Jesus.
But
I'm going to be led to the Quran.
But, sir, I never said any of those things. I said I followed the teachings of Jesus, which I did find in the New Testament.
You can follow. Following the teachings of Jesus is fine, but you didn't follow Jesus. Do you know the difference? Do you know the difference?
No, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does. Because I can do certain things that somebody says, but I can in no way live like him. I can in no way try to actually start a relationship with him. One of the commandments that Jesus, one of the things that he did when he was on earth was to show the world that the way that the Pharisees were living relationally to God was completely incorrect, because they stood behind exactly what Muslims do, behind ceremony, behind tradition, behind routine. You know what they didn't have? They didn't have an actual relationship with Yahweh, which is why Jesus came down and showed the world, you can pray as much as you want. You can do whatever you want. But if your relationship with God is not legit, you're not doing anything. And that is the point.
These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me.
Exactly. And that's exactly what Muslims do. They honor Jesus with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. That is the point that I'm trying to make.
I asked to come up because of the banner that you have there. Okay. And I tried to make myself clear, but obviously that's not going to be the case. So let me ask you, brothers, this question. Which is greater, love or sacrifice?
It's a false equivalence.
Two are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Right. They're not mutually exclusive. That you know, Jesus' sacrifice happened as a result of love, right? So if you love, you're willing to sacrifice, right?
So you're saying that love and sacrifice are synonymous?
They can be, but they're not always.
Okay, so which is greater, love or sacrifice?
Again, they're not. Go ahead, Johnny.
And are you talking about sacrifice in the sense of like an animal sacrifice or self-sacrifice?
I'm talking in the sense of the words. Which is greater, the word love or the word sacrifice in its meaning? What the meaning is entirely up to you.
But we need to have a common definition here, because a discussion won't work if we can't have a common definition. So how are we using the word sacrifice? This is why we keep saying depends what you mean, because
okay. Give me a moment and I'll explain. When I was led to the Quran, I understood that the sacrifice of Jesus was not necessary. However, the willingness, that God was looking for the willingness, and how I justified that understanding was going back to Abraham and the sacrifice of his son, which did not happen because God was looking for the willingness. Most Christians say that God is love. But when I ask the question, which is greater, love or sacrifice, they hesitate. They beat around the bush.
We didn't hesitate. We gave you a direct answer.
I can, yeah. So Genesis 22, and Abraham sacrifices Isaac. That there was a specific purpose to that. That was to proclaim Abraham's faith and that he was willing, and that also points to Christ. There's portions of that story that point to Christ, but that's an entirely different topic. And so that does not show that, well, sacrifice is not necessary, because that continued to be practiced among the Israelites, among Moses, David, so on. Now, God is love, yes, but he is also just. We don't believe in only some of the attributes of God.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. So in Gethsemane, when Jesus goes to the Father 3 separate times in 3 of the Gospels, so it's important that the reason for the repetition is for us to learn from. So he goes to the Father and says, "Nevertheless, thy will be done." When I'm led to the Quran, I understood that God actually spared Jesus from the crucifixion because he was looking for Jesus's willingness. I believe Jesus was sent to be crucified, but I believe in Gethsemane, there was a change in the plan.
Absent any historical evidence, because the only document that states that it actually didn't happen is the Quran.
Okay.
Historical evidence has nothing to do with faith. Why do you people always
absolutely
do that?
incorrect? Absolutely incorrect.
Man, I'm trying to figure out which route do I go here? Let's start with this. So,
he left already, and I didn't kick him. You guys saw I didn't kick him. Let's bring up. Servant of God he's been waiting. Let's see. Hang on, Servant of God. I know you came up. There was a couple other people here on TikTok. Salaf, True. I'm just call this guy True Path. I don't know. Hang on.
Aden Abdullah was here, but then he said he had to leave.
Yeah, I know.
So.
That's why I wanted to bring him up, but he said he was. He said that he was busy. So I don't know. That's what happens, man. The intellectual price tag is a little bit too high sometimes, guys. I don't know.